Welcome to our tutorial about the Instance to Vary option. This is part of the Pattern Property Manager, and in SOLIDWORKS 2013, this option is available for both linear and circular patterns. Let's take a look at my graphic area. As you can see, I've got a simple rectangular extrusion and a simple extruded cut. The extruded cut has dimensions of 5 mm by 5 mm. The distance from this edge is 22.5 millimeters. Notice that this measurement, 22.5 millimeters, applies between this edge and this line. The significance of this placement will be obvious in just a moment. Let's begin by activating the Linear Pattern command. I'll select Direction 1. Now let's select the Features to Pattern. Five instances with 20 millimeter spacing is fine. Down below, we've got the new option, Instance to Vary. Let's take a look and see how it works. First, let's change the spacing increment. Let's say increase it by 5 millimeters. Tab to register. Under Options, be sure to select Full Preview if you want the real-time preview in the graphic area. Now what we've got here, the distance between the first and second instance is 20 millimeters, and the second to the third 25 millimeters, and so on. I want to increase the length of the following cuts by 5 millimeters as well, so let's figure out how to do this. We'll need to manipulate the D2 dimension. Let's select this window and select the dimension. Let's change the increment to 5 millimeters. Click Tab to register. Okay, I've got a little problem. I want my cuts to be equal in distance from this edge and this edge. You might think I'd be able to select this dimension and decrease its value with each instance. But since that's my position dimension, that's not an option. What I'm going to do is make a change to my supporting sketch. Let's accept to close the Property Manager. Right-click on Sketch 2 and select Edit Sketch. I'm going to delete this dimension now, and I'll place a point here. I'll apply the Smart Dimension tool. Let's accept the default value, and let's exit the sketch. All right, that's what I wanted. Let's edit our linear pattern a little bit more. Right-click, Edit. Let's switch to Full Preview from Partial Preview. We've got the option to skip this instance or to edit each individual instance. We can just left-click on the instance and select Skip Instance. To unskip an instance, we can delete it from the Property Manager, or we can do it right in the graphic area. Just right-click, select Unskip Instance. We've got another option here, Modify Instance. Let's make D2 30 millimeters. Tab to register. To restore the instance, scroll down the Property Manager, right-click and clear selection. OK to accept. Let's go to a second example now. Okay, here is a simple extruded plate with a circular cut. The plate is 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. The diameter of the extruded cut is 10 millimeters. Let's activate the Linear Pattern tool. Select Direction 1. By the way, if I try to accept the linear pattern now as it is, I'm going to end up with zero thickness geometry. As you see here in the graphic area, there is zero thickness geometry between the extruded cuts. Let's increase the spacing distance by 10 millimeters. For Direction 2, I'll use this edge. The number of instances, 5 as well. 20 millimeter spacing increment. Let's scroll down to Instances to Vary. First, I'm going to decrease the spacing increment by 2 millimeters. Tab to register. And the same for direction 2. -2, tab. Let's decrease the diameter by 1 millimeter. Tab to register. Let's opt for a full preview. And I'm going to decrease the depth of the extrusion by 0.75 millimeters. And let's accept our work. So what I wanted to have happen here was that the diameter and depth of the instances would decrease from this instance over to this instance. Let's edit the linear pattern again. Right-click on linear pattern 1, edit. Now let's select the diameter dimension. Increment will be -1. Let's select the depth dimension. The increment will make -0.75. Tab to register. Let's opt for full preview and accept our work. Now let's add another row and column and see what happens. Let's take a full preview. You may notice that I've got a problem right here in this corner. This extrude here has 0 diameter. Let's modify this instance. Make it 1 millimeter in diameter. Accept. Let's take a look at another example using the circular pattern tool. Let's activate it. The edge to pattern, I'll select this edge here, the circular edge. Feature to pattern, I'll select my extruded cut. Let's create 15 instances at an angle of 20 degrees. Tab to register. Once again, under the options, let's select full preview. Now let's take a look at the instances to vary. In this example, let's decrease the spacing increment by 1 degree. We'll type in -1, tab to register. And let's decrease the diameter by 0.5 millimeters. Again, tap to register. And let's click OK. OK, right-click, edit the pattern. When we right-click in the graphic area, we've got the option to skip or modify instances. Let's make the diameter 5 millimeters. Tab to register. Let's take a full preview. And let's click OK. This concludes our tutorial about the Instances to Vary option.